If you are listening, Andrew Tate, you are weird. Trafficker is a bald idiot, and I want to see him suffer.
I agree. I have to agree with that. Everybody who likes Andrew Tate,
and stick it in your... Don't even with me, bro. It's purple. It's purple and 9 inches long.
Yeah, Andrew.
Some people said they don't like it, and I said, well, what color is your Bugatti? Oh, fuck off then. So,
you know in the movie The Matrix where Neo has a bald head? Like,
yeah.
And when he goes back into the Matrix, he has hair. And they ask, why do you have hair inside the Matrix? And he said, because that's your self-projection. That's how you see yourself and imagine yourself inside of the Matrix. I think that everybody should have a self-projection. You have to imagine how you see yourself. And if you see yourself as a superhero and an extremely disciplined and hardworking person who achieves everything he's ever wanted in life and does amazing things, you have to understand that you're not going to be able to do that on drugs. So you need to have a mental projection in your mind of who you think you can be and who you want to be. And if that person's a drug addict, then go be a drug addict. But if that person is an extremely successful, extremely hardworking, extremely intelligent, extremely respected individual, he's probably not going to be doing drugs. A lot of this is about your self-image. Where's your duty? Where's your shame? Where's your self-inflicting morality? Where's your pride? So that's the problem with all of this shit. And it's the problem for all these addicts. If you want to wake up and say, what kind of man am I? Am I a drug addict? Well, then go be a drug addict. What kind of man am I? Am I a man who has control of his life and control of his mind? You have to make a decision. I just don't understand how you even took it in the first place. I can't fathom with all my massive computation in my mind, as smart as I am, I can't work out why you thought that was a smart thing to do, or why it was worth doing, or why you continue to do it. I don't understand. I'm genuinely asking you in a non-patronizing way, not trying to make fun of you. I don't understand. Make me understand. Did it feel good? When I was in high school, we didn't have mobile phones. There was no Facebook. There was no Instagram. All this porn you jerk off to didn't exist. Maybe that's why my generation isn't fucked up like yours. Maybe that's why every single person in your generation's a fucking lazy lowlife. And all you do is sit around on your phones endlessly scrolling. Screaming garbage. My generation is the last generation where we had none of that, and now we see it all, but we grew up without it. I really do think that growing up nowadays, when you're like a young, impressionable teenager with all this social media and this garbage that's going on, would be very, very difficult. I don't think it would be easy at all. I think it would be very hard. But is that your default emotion, that you want to feel good? If someone were to say to you right now, you can choose any emotion from the menu, would you choose happy or good?
Yes.
So this is the problem. Let's say I gave you a menu of emotions and said, choose an emotion. You're not going to choose sad. You would, right?
Yeah.
But choosing happy can be just as destructive also, because if your only desire is to be happy regardless, no matter what it takes, that's when you're going to eat the cake, because the cake will make you happy. That's when you're going to take the drugs. Drugs will make you happy. Alcohol will make you happy. Hedonism makes you happy. Going to the club makes you happy. It's all dumb shit. If you were to choose proud, or if you were to choose courageous, if you were to choose a different emotion or a different feeling inside, you would have no interest in these things. So I don't wake up and think, how do I feel happy? I don't wake up and say, will this drug make me happy? I have no interest in being happy. I wake up and say, how can I be proud of myself? What can I achieve that makes me proud of myself? How can I do things that make other people respect me and are proud of me? How do I have a day which I complete when I come home? The woman who's in my house says, wow, there's no man like you. How do I live a life so my children look at me and go, Dad's a superhero? How do I make my mother call me and say, I couldn't possibly be more proud of you? I choose proud. I don't choose happy. So if you were to say to me, this cup of juice will make you happy, I'd say, I don't want it. What do I want to be happy for?
Damn,
I want to be proud of myself. So what do you do to make you proud of yourself, and what do you do to make others proud of you? Tell me something in the last 48 hours you've done that's worthy of pride. You've slept, jerked off, talked shit on the internet. Have you done anything else with your life? How about being happy? You're a man. You're not supposed to be happy. This whole childish, giddish obsession with happiness is for children and females.
So you're not happy?
It's not that I'm unhappy, and it's not that I am happy. It's that I don't measure my level of happiness. It doesn't matter to me.
But I'm asking, so it doesn't matter that you're happy. So it doesn't matter to be happy is what you're saying?
Absolutely not. If I am miserable, I have duties to complete. If I am very happy, I have duties to complete.
So what's the point?
I have to live the exact same life regardless of how I feel. So for me, happiness is not a good indicator on how life should be lived. You shouldn't wake up and say, how happy am I today? How does that affect how I act? That's not how I operate. I wake up and say, what must be done? What will allow me to be proud of myself? What will allow me to achieve? And those things will be done regardless of how I feel. And that's how the most successful people on earth all operate. The most successful people on earth don't only do things because they feel happy about doing it. In fact, I'd argue that most people
I understand that, but I under.
If you're constantly obsessed with trying to make yourself happy, that's when you fall into addictions and
Exactly.
So stop caring if you're happy. Nobody cares if you're happy.
So what do I go for? What do I go for?
The whole world doesn't give a fuck if men are happy or not. Nobody cares about men being happy. You talk about women being happy. You want children to be happy. If you look at a full-grown man on Christmas morning, he's smiling because his wife is smiling. He's smiling because his children are smiling. Nobody even buys him anything. What do they buy the dad? Socks? Nobody cares about men being happy. So why do you as a man care about you being happy? That's how you're going to fall into these traps. I'm a very content person. I live a fantastic life. I'm not miserable or depressed. I'm not sad ever. But I don't wake up and go, I want to be happy today. No, sir. I wake up and say, okay, things must be done. And those things will be completed regardless of how I feel. Regardless of how I feel. You can lock me in a dungeon for an unknown amount of time in Romania, and I will still complete as many push-ups as I can possibly do in the dark by myself. What else am I going to do? Sit there and be sad? Happy or sad? The push-ups must be done. It's called duty. It's called honor. It's called pride. If you had these things, you would never do dumb shit in the first place. So I'm asking you why you don't have them. Funniest thing, the most ironic thing about all of this is that if you don't prioritize happiness, if you prioritize feeling proud of yourself, you end up happy by extension. I'm happy because I'm proud of myself because I have a fucking fantastic life and mansions and supercars and money, most famous man in the world, thousands of love letters a week from beautiful women, street credit in every single fucking city on earth. Of course I'm happy, but I didn't ever choose to try and be happy. If I would have chosen to try and be happy, I would have never ended up happy. I train every single day. And it doesn't matter how I feel. So, in fact, I would actually argue that the number one way to deal with most of life's problems is always the same thing. You were saying that people deal with things in many different ways. That is true. But in my experience of life, there's only one way to deal with anything. It doesn't matter if you're heartbroken. It doesn't matter if you're sad. It doesn't matter if your bank balance is low. It doesn't matter if you lose a family member. It doesn't matter if whatever negative things can happen to you. It doesn't matter if you go to jail. It doesn't matter what it is. The answer to everything is always the same. Do you know what the answer is?
What is the answer?
Hard work. Work harder. The worse things are, the harder I will work. I'll give you an example. I'll say it right now here on stream. Jail changed me and I had some trouble in there. I never missed a single day's training. Since I've left jail, I can't sleep. I have nightmares. I've been training harder than I've ever trained. I put it all over Twitter. I'm doing 6-7 hour days. I could sit around and complain about being tired. I could sit around and be a bitch. I could sit around and cry. Or I could just work harder than I've ever worked. It's fantastic that I can't sleep. It's all the time I need. So I can train endlessly. So my point is the answer is always hard work. What else is my answer going to be? I'm struggling with something. I'm going to work less. Does that make sense to you? How's that going to fix anything? At least now, as I decipher the puzzle, because that's what life is, it's a puzzle, and as I decipher the lesson that's been bestowed upon me by God, and as I repair my mentality and become a more content individual, or perhaps a more stable individual like I was before, at least in the meantime, I've done a whole bunch of work. At least I've gotten bigger, stronger, faster, richer. What else am I going to do? Sit around and mope like a dummy? The answer is always hard work. Anyone who's watching this, no matter what problem you're facing in your life, there's only one answer: work. Work harder. You can also take the antidote before the poison. If you're always working as hard as possible, it's actually very difficult for bad things to actually catch up with you. You can take the antidote before the poison. Most people don't even work very hard. You don't work hard. Not fucking at all. You don't do fucking nothing. The people at home, you think you work hard. You could work a lot harder. Hard work's always the answer, my friend. I would say that if you truly decide to quit, you will quit. I think a lot of people who don't quit things haven't truly decided to. It's very easy to say that you want to do something and not do it. We have to keep this clear for the whole world to understand. It's very easy for me to say, I'd love to quit. I don't even have any vices. I could quit cigars tomorrow. It wouldn't even bother me. It wouldn't even cross my mind. If I decided to quit, if I decided to quit, I really would like to quit, and then I carried on doing it. I don't think I really wanted to. If you really wanted to quit, you would quit. So there's a lot of people who are chasing the familiar feeling, and that familiar feeling can be extremely destructive. And you know what I would say is the most destructive feeling to be obsessed with trying to obtain?
What?
That constantly, as a man, trying to chase happiness, that's the most destructive thing you can do for your life. Because you can't delay gratification. You can't do anything that's particularly difficult. And the only thing that's going to make you happy quick is cheap happiness.
Gotcha.
Cheap and easy. Booze, cake, drugs, dumb shit. Real happiness, real contentment, and pride takes a long time to build. You have to be able to be unhappy to have a greater reward at the end. So anyone who's obsessed with chasing happiness, before